Hi, this is Tim Mai. Today I want to create this bonus video for you to teach you how to fill out the flex option, how to fill out the contract, and how to fill out the assignment agreement. And so with that, we're going to start with the flex option, okay? And of course, all of these documents could be downloaded from the members area of dodeals.com. So log into the members area and click on, let me go up here for you. Click on forms and contract here, and there's all the contracts and forms are on this page here for you. Okay, so do that, and so I'm gonna start with the flex option here. So with the flex option, you just need to fill out with any of these contracts. Just fill out where the lines are. Okay, so today's date. That's pretty simple, right? This option agreement is entered into between seller and buyer below, in consideration of and subject to the following terms and condition. Your name, okay, and or assigns your seller's name, or it could be the wholesale seller's name if you're dealing with the wholesaler. The property address, okay. The offer price that you and the seller agreed to, or you and the wholesaler agreed to, okay, and you put in that price. Right, an option period, 14 days is pretty standard, but you know, if the wholesaler is not willing to give you 14 days and he's willing to do 7 days, and that's fine, or even 3 days, that's fine as well. You can always extend it if if you can't find a buyer and sell it in time. Alright, so here's some provision here. Buyers shall endeavor to find an end buyer and assign this option agreement to him or her for a fee. Seller understands that buyer is acting as a principal in the transaction, is not acting as a licensed real estate broker, because if you don't have a real estate license, then you don't want to be making a commission off of this property. You know, make sure you have an equitable interest in the property to be able to have the legal rights to sell it. Okay? Upon buyer's exercise of this option, both parties agree to execute such further documentation as is required, including a standard purchase and sales agreement. Seller may cancel this agreement at any time before buyer exercises the option if they find their own buyer or decide not to sell. Okay, so that means that you can the seller has the right to terminate this agreement if you decide you don't want to exercise this option because you couldn't find a buyer in time. Okay. Seller agrees to allow buyer to advertise the property through any media, including but not limited to advertising online, in newspaper, on MLS, and for sale signs. Okay. Some sellers might say, no, I don't want you to put out for sale signs in front of my house. In that case, you can just take this out or cross it out. Right, just whatever you and the seller agree to, it's no big deal. If buyer does not give notice to seller before the end of the 14th day after the date of this agreement, the buyer is exercising the option, this agreement shall terminate and be void. So after 14 days, you don't need to do anything. You don't need to notify them to cancel it. If you don't notify them, it automatically cancels. All parties agree that the property is being sold in an as-is condition unless noted otherwise. Seller agree not to negotiate with prospects that buyer sends to inspect the property. So that means, seller agree basically not to negotiate with your buyers or circumvent you. Okay, and if the seller have any other requests, they can put it here, and then you sign your name here, date, and then the seller signs their name if there's a husband and a wife. And and that's pretty much it. Okay, so now let's move to real estate contract here. So here's a simple one-page real estate standard purchase and sales agreement. Now, depending on your state, you might want to use your state-specific one. For the purpose of this video, I'm just going to do this simple one-page one. Okay. Every state's a little bit different, and so I'm just going to use this one for now. And you can always send this over to your title company in your state to see if this will be okay for you to use. If not, then they'll let you know and they'll give you a contract that would be okay. Like here in Texas, for example, well, my title company here in Houston prefer to use the Texas specific contract, and so we use that on a regular basis. But here's one that's pretty standard and pretty simple to use. All right, so you have the states. You put the property state, the county where the property resides. This agreement, seller's name right here. All right, hereinafter called seller. Hereby sells and agrees to convey unto buyer's name. All right, so this could be your name here. Hereinafter called buyer. The property described below lying situated in property counties, whatever that county that is, and the property address goes here. The purchase price, seller agreed to pay, buyer agreed to pay seller, and seller agrees to accept whatever that purchase price is written out. So $100,000 written out, and then you put the number $100,000 here in cash at closing for the property. Buyer has paid to seller earnest money deposit of. If you put up any earnest money, put it here. If you don't want to use any earnest money at all, just put other considerations, right? Because other consideration. Earnest money is used as a consideration, and a promise itself is a consideration, so it doesn't have to be monetary. So if the seller requires that you use monetary, that's fine. You can use that $10, $100, $500. If you can get, normally we tell the seller, well, we don't normally use earnest money, we just we put other consideration. We promise to buy your house, which shall be credited to buyer at closing of this agreement. Property taxes shall be prorated as the date of closing. Title, seller wants that seller has good, clear, marketable title to the property, subject only to property taxes and any easement and restriction of record. Seller will convey title to buyer with a general warranty deed. Buyer will inspect title to the property, and seller will satisfy any encumbrances other than those listed above. Closing and possession. This agreement will be closed on or before, and then whatever the closing date you agree to, and can be extended as necessary to complete all paperwork required. So that way, if you go past that 30 days, you can extend your contract. Time is of the essence of this agreement. Closing costs. Buyer will have buyer's attorney at buyer's expense prepare all required documents to complete this agreement. Inspection. Basically saying you will pay for all the closing costs. Okay. And all of this is, of course, everything here is negotiable. Okay. Inspection. This agreement is subject to an inspection of the property and approval by buyer and or his associates. After the acceptance of this agreement by seller, buyer will buy the property in its present as is condition. So basically, this gives you the right to inspect the property, and if you don't, for whatever reason, you say it's too dusty, you don't want to buy it, then you can cancel the agreement. Okay. Special provision here, whatever you and the seller agree to beyond what's written here, you can put that. Okay. And then executed date, the seller signs, you sign, and that's it for the contract. Pretty simple, huh? A lot of people get stuck on this contract, but it's actually a lot easier than what they think. All right. Next, we have the assignment of purchase and sales agreements. Okay. Assignment of purchase and sales agreement. Same thing here. State, county that the property is in. Okay. Today's date, put here. And then normally when you assigning, you're buying it from, either you're buying it from a wholesaler and the wholesaler is assigning it to you, or you're assigning it to your buyer. So either the wholesaler or a wholesale marketer, which is you, the name goes there, and then the buyer's name goes here. Okay, here buyer's name. Okay, and the buyer is now the assignee. All right. Assignor enter into a certain purchase and sales agreement. Here and after refers as the agreement on whatever date the contract was signed. I should put contract date here. Okay. and then the original seller's name, okay, what the homeowner, okay, and then the property located at the whatever the property address is, a copy of said agreement being attached here, may part of this part hereof by reference, okay. And whereas the assignor wishes to sell and the assignee wishes to buy all the assignor's rights, title, interest, use, and benefits in and to the agreement. So basically, you're buying the rights to this purchase and sales agreement that the wholesaler has with the seller, okay. Or in case your buyer is buying that rights from you, okay. Now, therefore, for and in consideration the sum amount of whatever the assignment amount that you agree on, let's say $5,000 or $10,000. So you write that down and put in the dollar amount here, okay. And other valuable considerations received from on behalf of assignee, the receipt and sufficiency whereof is hereby acknowledged, or at the time of closing with seller. This is most common, so you would check right here. So basically, you're not going to get paid this $5,000 or $10,000 until the time of closing with the seller, okay. Assignor does hereby grant, bargain, sell, assign, transfer, convey, and set over unto assignee that certain purchase and sales agreement stated here. And alright, so I'm not going to keep on reading all of these stuff to you. I'm going to leave you to read that for yourself, because I'm not doing that great of a job reading it anyways. You can download the agreement, of course, and read it for yourself. This agreement shall be construed under the law, whatever the state that the property is in. If you collect any assignment amount before the closing date, for example, let's say if you say that there's $5,000 that you are collecting in assignment fee, right? And you want to for them to deposit $1,000 down, $1,000 now, and $4,000 at closing. You can put it here, okay? Assignee agree to deposit $1,000 immediately, and the balance to be paid at closing. Right? So just a simple whatever agreement that you and your buyer agree to, you can add here. Okay, you can add number 7, number 8, whatever y'all agreed on. And so y'all can add to it. There's nothing wrong with editing these contracts and these assignments. Okay, everything is negotiable, like I said. All right, and so here you're gonna then put the date, and you're gonna the wholesaler is going to sign. If you are the wholesaler, then you sign, and then if you're the buyer, then you sign here as the assignee, or your buyer will sign here. Got it? I hope you had enjoyed this video on how to fill out these 3 simple contracts that we use in the 1,000 Deals in 30 Days challenge. With that, I look forward to teaching you more on the next video. Bye bye for now.